Hey guys, what's up? What's going on? Welcome back to Kitchen Tonic. Welcome back to another brand new video here on the channel. Welcome, welcome, welcome. In this video here today, we're going to be making a nice, tasty fish and chips, guys. Just regular old fish and chips that we know and love. So to begin here, obviously you're looking at the chips part of this recipe, and that is four green plantains that we're going to be using for this video here today. Of course, you can use potatoes or whatever else you want to use to make your chips. Go ahead and use whatever you have available to you. Moving on over here, we're going to be seasoning this fish very well. A lot of people tend to say don't over season your fish because they want to taste the fish and all these things. I say make sure that your fish is well seasoned. So we're going to be using here 1 pack of Sazon, or Goya Sazon, that we're going to be using here. We're going to be using half a teaspoon of black pepper as well as half a teaspoon of salt. We're going to be using some spring onions or some scallions or some shallots here, whichever name that you choose to use. And we're also going to be using some fine leaf thyme as well as 5 cloves of garlic. And one of the stars of the show here, we're going to be making some kingfish, guys. We're going to be frying up this kingfish here. So what I went ahead and did with this fish here, I went ahead and washed it off with some water and lime juice, and then I went ahead and patted it dry as best as I can. Obviously this fish is very dense here and it tends to retain a lot of water and a lot of moisture, but try to do the best you can with patting this fish here dry. So what we're going to do now, I'm going to go ahead and season up this fish here, and then we're going to leave it to marinate for at least 30 minutes to an hour so that the fish can get well seasoned like I've mentioned. Okay guys, so I'm going to go ahead and begin the seasoning process of this fish here, and then we're going to place it to marinate. And while this fish here is marinating, we're going to be preparing our chips, our plantains here. So yeah, let's get into this. Alright guys, so I've set my fish aside for now as we prepare our seasoning here. So I'm going to begin cutting up my shallot here into this mortar or this grinder that we have here. Now of course you guys can do as best as you can with what you have, like I've mentioned, but I'm gonna go ahead and place these seasonings in this grinder or mortar here, and then we're gonna go ahead and pound it up to try to release a lot of the flavors in the garlic and everything. Alright, I'm going to go on up and cut my thyme up here as well. And you want to make sure that you cut this really small, because we will be seasoning our fish here with it. We're just going to be dabbing or wiping the exterior here of our fish. And you don't want any large pieces or large chunks or anything like that. Alright guys, so that's all the seasoning we're going to place into our mortar here, and I'm going to go ahead and grind up this mixture or this concoction here. If you guys want, or if you have it available to you, you can also go ahead and place some hot pepper in this mortar here as well. Alright guys, this is the end product of what we have here. So what I'm going to do now, let me bring my fish back into the frame or back onto your screen there. And I'm going to go ahead and begin pouring my salt and my black pepper liberally over this fish here, followed by my Sazon. And of course, I'm going to be using my hands here, but if you guys want, feel free to use your gloves or whatever you have available to you. Just going to make sure that everything is well distributed on both sides of the fish here. And you don't want to be careful with the type of fish you're using, because you don't want to get stuck by any bones or anything like that. Alright guys, now I'm going to begin placing my mixture, my concoction that I just pounded into this fish here as well, or onto this fish here as well. Like I said, you want to make sure that it's well distributed throughout your fishes here. So I'm placing them liberally, piece by piece. Make sure that you rub it in really well so that everything gets nice and seasoned here. Alright guys, so what I'm going to go ahead and do now, I'm going to place this into my refrigerator to get nice and marinated and nice and infused with all those flavors. And I'm going to begin preparing my plantains here and frying up my plantains. So let's get to that. Alright guys, so here we are. What I'm going to go ahead and do now, I'm going to go ahead and start peeling my plantains here. And I'm going to show you guys the easy way to do it. Now, before I get to that, I did forget to mention the exact amount of kingfish that I'm using here today for this recipe. Just in case you guys want to adjust the ingredients accordingly, what I'm using is about 2.5 pounds of kingfish that you saw me seasoned earlier. Now, what we're going to go ahead and do, I'm going to go ahead and peel this plantain here. Now, of course, you want to cut off the edges or the ends of the plantain just like this, and of course use caution when you're using sharp objects, goes without saying. We're going to go ahead and cut this plantain in half here. And what we're going to go ahead and do now, easy way to peel this plantain guys, usually the plantain have these ridges on them, and what we're going to go ahead and do, we're just going to take our knife and cut exactly along these ridges here. So we're just going to go ahead and cut along these ridges on the plantains just like this, and it's going to make it extremely easy in order to remove it. You want to try not to go too deep, as you don't want to cut your plantain up too much. But just cut along the ridges of the plantains just like that. And this is the easy way of removing the skin from your green plantains. Now from here you can just basically peel them off with ease. Comes right off after that. And just like that, we have our peeled plantain here. Now I'm going to show you guys the way we're going to be cutting up this plantain here. Of course, you can cut in whatever shape that you please, but what we're going to be doing here, we're just going to slit the plantain down the middle like this, and then we're going to be cutting them in shapes or sizes like these. Of course, I'm going to switch over to my cutting board, but this is just for demonstration purposes now. I'm going to go ahead and finish off peeling and cutting these plantains, and then we're going to begin frying them up. Alright guys, so here we are. My oil is nice and hot. I don't know if you can hear and see it popping there on your screen. And I've got my plantains here. What I'm going to go ahead and do, I'm just going to place them into my oil. And we're not going to add any special things to this oil or anything like that. Just going to place these plantains directly into the oil, and when it's finished frying, you have an option of adding salt afterwards. Okay guys, so we're just gonna place these into my oil just like this, and we're gonna allow them to fry until they're about golden brown. Alright guys, so here we are. My chips has finished frying. It's nice and yellow. And what we're going to go ahead and do now, in the same oil that I used to fry my chips here, I'm going to begin frying up my fish. And the last time you guys saw this fish here is 1 hour ago. And you do not need to marinate your fish for so long. But because I was frying up my chips and doing other things in the kitchen here, it did take a little time. So yeah, just go ahead and place your fish into your pan there. Make sure that you have enough oil in your pan. And we're just gonna go ahead and fry this fish here for about 5 minutes on each side. And you wanna make sure that it's nice and done properly. Like I said, I like everything that I'm doing in the kitchen here to be well seasoned, well done, and everything like that. Alright guys, so we're just gonna go ahead and allow this fish here to fry, like I said, for about 5 minutes on each side. You do want to make sure that you have enough oil in your pan there and everything for the frying of this fish here. Alright, and there we have it guys, the final finished product of my version of the Caribbean style fish and chips. Now like I said, if you're so pleased, you can go ahead and sprinkle a little bit of salt on your plantains or your chips here. You can also use this with a little bit of ketchup or whatever condiment suits your taste. You can also go ahead and squeeze a little bit of lime or lemon juice on your fish here to enhance the flavor and everything else. But with that being said, thank you guys for watching here, and I'll see you guys another time, another day, for another brand new video on Kitchen Tonic.